this ability. I always say, and I write it on my website, that I'm always uncomfortable when people say I have a gift, which people like to say. But what I prefer to say is I don't have a gift that all of you do not have. What we do, all of you have access to, truly. Maybe not to the level that we do. You know, it's kind of like I equate it like a musical talent. I have no musical talent, not a shred, unlike Glenn, who has tons. I have none. But I could take 3 years of piano, and if I really wanted to learn, I could learn basic principles of music. Now, am I going to go on and be a professional musician? Probably not. So I'm probably gifted in Glenn in the amount of ability that we have. But we've also trained, in any professional meeting, we've all sat in intuitive development circles and meditation. You can learn to do this. I've taken, you know, older ladies and men that have never done anything like this in their life. They're retired. You know, I'm in Naples, a lot of retirees. And they have some extra time. So they go, you know, let's go to intuitive development class. And they come. Never done anything. And by the 6th or the 8th week, they're picking up, you know, names of somebody's loved one that they're working with and getting all kinds of information. The key is learning to switch your consciousness. You have to do meditation or do something to alter your mind state so you can be more receptive. But you all have access to this. That's one of the things that's always bothered me about any religion, because most religions require you to go through them to get there. You have to go through another person or another affiliation or jump through some hoops or follow these rules so that you can get to, you know, somebody to give you true guidance. And what I like to tell people is you can do this yourself. The more you become aware and in tune with your own higher self, that part of you that stays there, your spiritual connection, your spiritual guides, you know, the more you're going to be able to navigate through life. Because you got to think your brain is quite literally like a computer hard drive. It only understands based on what's been programmed into it in this particular lifetime. But that doesn't mean everything it was programmed with was right? So you have to like go in and delete every couple of years. You know, counseling will help you do that. But you can get really screwed up following what you're told, all the shoulds in life, how you get through all the issues in your life. But you can usually, if you go into your heart center, you can feel your way through life pretty well, you know, by going with who you are. So you can learn to do this. I really always suggest that you learn to do this. One of the things that I always tell people is you never ever want to give your personal power to another person. Whether it's a psychic, whether it's a spiritual advisor like a priest, whether it's a doctor, you know, you have to take responsibility, and you should take responsibility for your life and your actions. Glenn and I, we come in to try to give you insight into maybe things that you're not seeing, or uncover things that are not visible to you, but only so that you're more empowered to make the decisions in your own life. We won't tell you what to do because that's why you're here. You're here to make those decisions. So anything that you can do, meditation or classes in your area, you know, to learn to reconnect with that, you have the same access that we do.
And lots of times people ask us, why can't their loved ones tell us certain things? It's because you have your own life lessons to learn. It goes back to what Denise was just saying about being responsible, is that even if your loved one has sometimes an answer for something, an outcome, sometimes we're not meant to know it at that time. It can alter the course of something we're supposed to be learning from. So that's why, you know, just because your loved one's in the afterlife, which is wonderful that they come through, they visit you, they guide you, they support you in any way they can, doesn't mean that they can literally change your life or fix your life. I say it even in my website that they can't just come in and fix your life. Even us as mediums, we're not here to fix your life either, because you're responsible for it too. But a lot of people have asked me over the years, how can I do what you do? And that's a tough thing. People don't realize that it takes tremendous responsibility on our part to deliver messages to people. That we're not just playing with somebody's life. Somebody's life is in our hands. The client's life, the Spirit's messages, they're in our hands, and we have to also be conscious of that too. So a lot of people that want to be mediums, that's wonderful if you have the ability and really truly in the desire to do it. But if you go into it because, well, you're seeing somebody on TV and all that fame and stuff, that has nothing to do with what we do at all as mediums. There's a bigger planet behind that. And I think it's great, though, if people feel the connections to their loved ones and tap into it, or feel like they want to go and help somebody else and think that they have it. But you always have to remember that it is a major responsibility.
I just want to talk to you a little bit real quick about the future, because sometimes people call us, and a lot of times, you know, or any psychic, what is going to happen with something in the future. So I want to talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of misunderstanding about that. When Glenn and I look into the future, what we actually see, and no psychic can see your future 100% set in stone. If they tell you they can, they either don't understand how this works or they're not telling you the truth. Now, we can be very, very accurate, and a lot of what we say, you know, hopefully will be what we see. But you have to understand a few things. And Glenn touched on this earlier about your thoughts and how your thoughts write your future. You absolutely maintain 100% control over your future. You're writing your future every moment of every day, not only with your actions, but with your thoughts. They start as thoughts. Then your thoughts lead to actions. And through those actions, you open up and initiate different choices that are coming up for you. So when we look into your future, if I'm reading for you, say example, and I'm looking at your future, I may see 3 pathways into your future, pathways and probabilities. And based on where you are in this time of your life, I can look at path A, and I can have a pretty strong feeling that that's most likely to manifest for you. Just as if somebody was a teacher in 4th grade. Okay, you know if you've been teaching these kids for 3 months, which ones are going to do really good on their test, which ones are going to struggle, which ones are going to fail and have to repeat it, you know. It's the same when we're looking at people. So based on the actions you're making and where your head is and the other players involved in your life, I can say, you know, this is probably what's going to happen. But everybody has free will, and everybody in your life has free will. So there's always a wild card when looking into the future, that in any instant, somebody can change it. So even if we see something that you're not so happy about, you can change that because you have free will. You know, I know this has come up with Glenn and I. Sometimes we don't normally see when people are going to die, but we do sometimes. I know that I will sometimes see medical issues. And I know that Spirit does not bring up medical issues to me to tell somebody unless that person has an opportunity to do something to change the course of their life. Because this is not about fear. If you go to a psychic and you're getting that fear thing, then you need to run out the door as quick as you can. It's the same as those kind of fire and brimstone churches. Fear is about control. It's about keeping you dependent and coming back. That's not what we're about. So if I were to say to you, you know, you need to change your eating habits because I see diabetes coming down the road in a few years, they're saying that because it's giving you an opportunity to take control of your life and have a choice to do something different. It's not being said to scare you.
And actually also, a lot of people that have gone to psychics, not just mediums, but psychics, lots of times get pulled in and the psychic will tell the person, well, you have all this envy around you, all this jealousy. Give me $1,000 and I'll light a bunch of candles. Run out the door and call your local police department because that is someone who's trying to con you.
Yeah. I just want to throw that in with the future because that's something, you know, to always think about and keep in mind. And, you know, that's what I mean when I say don't give your personal power to anybody.
Look, they could have been in my closet this morning. How many times different shirts,
yeah.
Right? So there's always, it's true though, possibility and probability. You know, you could change your future at any given moment of what to wear, what to eat, you know, where to go, which road to take one day, just like we experienced yesterday, just, you know, getting here and back. So. And
remember, it's also your thoughts. Your thoughts are really important because where you're thinking is going to determine what opportunities open up for you. You know, people come to me, this is a big thing with women. You know, when am I going to meet the right guy? I hear that a lot, right? And the thing is sometimes they're saying that and they're still with another guy. And I'm going, you know, you can't, I know that sounds obvious, right? That's funny. But the thing is like, they want to play both sides. So they're afraid to leave the one guy because they want to make sure somebody else is coming. And what I say to them is, you know, if you want somebody else to come in, you have to create space for that to happen. You have to create an opening, you know. Otherwise, I mean, you could just go codependent, one relationship to the next. A lot of people do that totally unconscious. And it's like 3 guys and they're exactly the same, you know. But you have to create an opening. And that's what I mean by you have to make the important choices and decisions in your life. If you believe that there's something better for you and you have the courage to overcome your fear and make changes in your life to create an opening for something better to manifest,